Oh, we are back. We are here. We are hanging out. I'm so excited. Um, I'm really hyped to really start up October finally. It is here, the event of the year where we draw, or at least try to draw every single day. And I'm making it reasonable this time. I think I crafted a formula so I could keep up with Spilled Inktober. Um, and I'm super hyped to talk about it with you guys. We have a great cast tonight. So welcome back to Comics Wellspring's live drawing show, Spilled Ink, where we're spilling ink and spilling the tea. And of course, I'm your host, Brandon Bloxdorf. And I'm so ecstatic because you know what? Also, I'm kind of sad. This is my last week for what, maybe 2 to 3 weeks. Because I'm gonna be traveling for cons and whatnot. So if you're going to New York or if you're going to Baltimore, let me know so we can meet up and hang. I'd love to see everybody. But let's move on with the show. As always, I have my wonderful, spectacular, shockingly awesome dude. I love what you're doing already. Is this part of the video you posted, Max?
Yeah, so oh brother, I'm making a zine, and we're gonna be screen printing essentially like the entire zine on one sheet of paper, and then disassembling it and putting it back together into a closed edition of 31 books. So there's only going to be 31 books that ever exist at the end of this Inktober that I'll sell off. And yeah, so I'm doing little 4x5 cards because that's going to be the size of the final zine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just put your finger up to the paper so people can understand how that. Yeah.
Yeah.
4x5. That's insane. That's pretty much what this card is. I'm very zoomed in right now myself. We had these like sketch cards from IC3 that I just never use. I just have a whole stack of them. So I'm penciling with blue line all of my drawings this month, but then I'm doing mine. I'm inking them digitally because I only ever do pencils during Inktober. I'm super slow. Um, so I'm just doing it that way. So I'm super excited to actually make some progress. I've already inked one. I'm gonna ink two of them tonight, hopefully. Kind of getting ahead of tomorrow and doing the xenomorph, but exciting stuff. Um, but we have a great cast of guests tonight. I'm so excited to see what everyone talks about. Let's kick it off with Hobbs. Hello, Hobbs, my local buddy.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good, dude. So happy that you hopped in tonight. I'm super excited
Yeah, me
to
too.
talk to you.
I love coming on because I get work done. I've been
There you go.
promising myself that I would do work all day today, and then I ended up dealing with like a refrigerator problem and running around, and now but it's like it's time that I've set aside for working, so it's really cool.
Oh, nice. I love that, dude. Yeah, that's the best part about the show, and that's the coolest thing I hear from people is that they get work done, and that's the most important thing. And I think Spilled Tober, trying to get through all these drawings is going to be. I mean, that's the only way I'm going to do some of them, to be honest. And we
Yeah,
also have.
I don't know if I'll
Oh
be
no,
doing them
what's up?
all, but I'll do my best.
Yeah, I with travel, dude. I'm hoping I get at least 20 done. That's my goal. 20. Let's hope for that. Um, but we have a really cool list. I'll try to display it on the screen too, so everyone else can check it out, or head to the CWS Instagram to see the list. It was a lot of fun to come up with, and we had a lot of community suggestions pop in, which was great. We also have returning guest Carl from Rat Race, dude. I can't. You gave me the coolest penciled sketch ever. I can't wait to get a frame for it. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're on
Oh,
tonight.
you're welcome. Yeah, I just found a publisher for that book too.
Ooh.
Squid Bones. They want it finished though. It's a 3-issue miniseries, and I've only got 2 issues done. So yeah, I'm pretty busy.
Ah, dude, that's sick to hear. I'm so excited to hear that. You even have it's a 3-issue series, so I can't wait to read more of it.
Yeah.
I'm
But
gonna be diving into it in the next week or two.
Yeah, it's also going to be a Kickstarter real soon. I'm going to do a Kickstarter for each issue, and they're going to sell it as a trade paperback.
Nice.
And I'm
Nice.
finishing up the last thing, the cover for Of Thunder right now. That's what I'll be working on today.
Ooh.
And then I start on Night of the Chihuahuas. Actually, I've already started doing layouts and reading the script.
Oh, sick. That's dope. Yeah, I can't wait to hear more about that one too. That's that like Hawaiian Thor project, right?
Yeah. Sure. Here. And then I also have this book coming out with a company called Oceanicom. Just approved the digital proofs. So I don't know when
Nice.
it's going to print, but hopefully before Christmas.
Oh, cool. Hell yeah.
80-page graphic novel. I did I did that during COVID. So yeah, four books with 3 publishers. I wanted to be
Oh,
too
man.
busy. I got my wish.
Dude, that's awesome. I love hearing that. You well deserved. You've had a rough year, and I think this was a good way to kind of tidy things up after everything.
Thank you.
And then we have one of my favorite creators. I just saw her at SPX, but we didn't even get to hang out long enough. It's never long enough. But we have Ro Higashi hanging out with us tonight. Hi, Ro.
Hello.
Dude, I'm so excited you're here. What are you working on tonight?
Well, I was supposed to be working on some traditional commissions that I kind of have in the queue left over from San Japan, which is like almost a month ago now, so I feel really bad. But and then also a digital commission from back then. But I think for more short form content, I'm going to be working on a character.
Oops.
I'll be working on a character design that I've been meaning to work on. There's like this angel character in my comic, and I haven't really done like I've done like really rough sketches of her, but not like a full-blown illustration of her yet. So I'm just going to do that now. So
Ooh.
yeah, just kind of have something a little bit more, I guess, palatable for a shorter stream.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be. I love seeing your process when you're, like doing digital. I haven't seen too much of your traditional in person or on the show yet. I got to figure out the camera thing for that. But I love seeing your process from like where you're at until we get to the end of the stream.
Yeah, the traditional has been pretty crazy, especially like at events. I've gotten to this point where I don't want to say that I dread it, but I know that if as soon as I say like, oh, I accept commissions, like open commissions, then I'm just going to be bombarded with commissions all weekend. So I kind of stopped putting up the sign the past like 3 events. But the issue is, which is not really an issue, and maybe I can move forward like this because it's at a good pace. There are a lot of people nowadays that will actually research who's going to be at a show ahead of time, and they'll actually plan it in their schedule to commission me. And so they'll come at the beginning of the day, which gives me a lot of ample time. It's a little bit more panicky if they come, like, let's say the last 2 hours of the con, and then they want this really huge traditional commission. And I'm just like, oh, dude, because if I had the whole 2 hours, like maybe, but then if I have to stop because I am like talking to someone or taking sales, because I'm usually like a one person. I never have a helper. That's my toxic trait. So there is always like that anxiety being at a show that like, can I get these done and can I get them done well? And then at the same time, make sure that whoever stops by the booth, that their experience is good. So I always worry about that sort of thing. But again, I've gotten to a point where like, I don't need to put up like, hey, open for commissions and stuff, because there seems to be, especially at LA Comic Con, people that are planning to get my commissions ahead of time. And that's a new thing for me this year. That's never happened until this year that started happening. So I'm still trying to adjust to that, to where I'm like trying to mentally prepare of like, okay, I need to have enough time for this, and I need to bring these materials in because someone might ask for this. Like, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no. So how do you think, what was the shift this year that like brought all this upon? Like, do you think it was just exposure over the last couple years, or your style kind of popping out more, or have you done other fan work that people have gotten word of and attention?
I think it's the increase of doing more traditional commissions for people.
Okay.
I think that's like a huge pull, is that people want that. And then it's kind of probably a combination of there's been a huge style shift. And then at the same time, maybe there has been a little bit, like my presence online has increased a little bit. But admittedly, like I have tried to kind of post more often, at least if not like an actual post, I post on my stories. and I don't know if that is directly affecting it or not. I admittedly don't check like my I guess my algorithm stuff or insight information as much as I should.
Yeah, same.
But I think too, just being at these shows, you know, like it's hard because if you lose money at a show, it makes it really discouraging to go to another show. But I've been fortunate so far that the only show that I've lost money at would be SPX, but I kind of expected it. But that's because
Is that because of travel and all that too?
oh,
Like
for
you're
sure,
including
for
that.
sure.
Yeah.
It was my travel, like, you know, for the hotel, and then also my flight to get there and everything, and then also food. Well, food like is usually not a huge expense for me because I'm a short person, so I don't really require too much food. But yeah, it's just, you know, all those little things add up. Like if you buy food at the airport and everything, I get really meticulous about like my taxes and stuff. So the way that it works on taxes is that you can claim food, but you have to write down like when you got that food, what it's for, and, you know, just at least have like a written documentation of all of those, or else you just can't claim it. Like they won't accept it. I mean, anything short of having that or a receipt, like they're just not, even if they have the receipt without context, like your tax person will usually be like, oh, what the fuck is this? You know?
Oh, wow.
So it's just really, you know, I've gotten really meticulous about it. But I also expected to lose money at SPX because I heard that even though with the high traffic, like there's just so much creators that you can't expect to make like huge bucks at, as like say compared to a like a huge anime con or a huge comic con. So what sorry, I'm like kind of straying from the subject there, but I guess my point is like going to these events is like a really huge if you do your taxes, you have to categorize it under advertisement. And I guess it's true, like I've been doing so many events this year and it has really bumped up my advertising. And it's weird because I used to do a lot of events when I did mostly fan art at conventions, and I think because original artists like kind of resonate more a little bit more with people, the followers and people who interact with you are a little bit more organic because they're not just interacting with you because they like this fan art that you did, but they actually like your original work and all that. And I'm not trying to knock on fan artists. That's just like my personal experience of when I switched from doing fan art to original art. So I think it's like a combination of a lot of things that kind of bumped it up for me.
That's so yeah, it's interesting to figure out and balance. Because I know artists that are, you know, phenomenal and they don't get a lot of commission work yet they kind of hustle. But you know, just seeing I love hearing that you're having success. It's the greatest thing like ever. And I'm just like, wow, I wonder what the code is to crack. And you know, you have been so much busier and so much more active. And the con thing, you know, I've been trying to figure out really reasons why cons are so important and like why we need to do them. But as an artist, I guess that makes a lot more sense of being like, you just kind of got to get that exposure out there and just show up. It's part of just showing up, you know, I guess with anything, you know, that's the biggest advice people give is show up. And by being at those cons, I bet that is driving that, you know, insight towards you and getting some word spread.
Yeah, I guess so. I think so. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I feel like that's the constant struggle, you know what I mean? And even if you're posting, you could take commissions. I know people that struggle with that type of stuff. And what are your rates like? I'm kind of curious. Or if you don't want to say
Oh
that
no,
on
I
there, I
don't mind
totally
talking
understand too.
about my rates at all. So if I do like a digital commission from black and white, and digital commission, it starts from 200. I used to do like 100 to 150, but I found that I don't have that much time anymore. And I was told too that like once you're published, or you're established being a published artist, you have to raise them a little bit. So in comparison, you'll see like really big artists that will have like commissions that are much more than that, right? And then if it's traditional, depending on the size, I do it by size, and then also if it's black and white. So you can start like at a little sketch card, well, a little larger than a sketch. Sketch cards will usually start at like 25s if it's just like a pencil sketch, and then if it's inking, it's a little bit more. But I try to make those little sketch cards no more than 45. And the only reason why I would make it 45 is if there was like a little bit more detail in there than expected. And then if it goes a little bit larger, like the sketch card you're working on from the Indie Comic Creator Con, I try to have them start at 50 or 65. And then if it's full color, it would be anywhere from 65 to 75. And then if it's larger than that and it's traditional, I'll go from 200 to 300. But yeah, the digital commissions, black and white, usually start at 200 for me because I usually try to add like a background and everything else and not just have like a floating figure.
Yeah, that makes
I'm trying to
sense.
be better about having backgrounds too, because I am such a huge fan of just like the floating, silhouettes and everything. I think those are really cool. But I know that a lot of people, when they want something like a little bit more fleshed out. So
It's kind of funny you say that. That was my kind of thought and realization. Yes, today when I was doing my 2 drawings, I was like, oh, I've never really added a lot of backgrounds, but I think now is going to be the time I kind of challenge myself to take that attempt. I it's hard for me to, I'm still learning so much, but like it's hard for me to figure out how to not make it look muddy with the background sometimes. So that's where I'm trying to like balance and figure some stuff out of like how to make that fit, but not like overcomplicate the image, or had to make sure it still has clarity in it somehow.
yeah, I think having a good contrast is always pretty tricky for most people, even people that have been doing it a long time. I just always, I don't know if this is a cop out, I just always make the background a little bit lighter or make it like if the characters have, all of my characters usually have some sort of line weight, and then make sure that the background has way less line weight or no line weight at all, and it's just portrayed by values, that usually
Okay,
works
yeah.
out.
Huh. Okay, cool. That's great advice for me to be doing what I'm doing. So cool. Thank you. And actually, Carl, you do a lot of really cool background stuff. Do you just move the camera back, and how do you know the balance between what needs to be in the foreground and background?
It's a lot of just awareness of light and dark, like to get the contrast. And it's something I just naturally get better at over the years. I also take my background probably more seriously than most people. Like when I'm taking notes and making outlines and stuff like that, I treat the background, like the setting, as with as much attention as I would a character.
Okay.
The research and all that, finding reference and just thinking it all through.
Interesting. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think I've been doing a lot of kind of more blacked out backgrounds or just single. Like I did a brick wall, and I was like, that's enough. That was great.
Good
And
for
I'm kind of doing
concept.
ship walls on this.
Well, Brandon, so here's a funny story. You're a writer and an artist now, right? So, and I do both. I was just looking for reference on kids this age, but I was watching the movie Stand By Me, and you've all seen that, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the movie, I had the sound turned off because I'm just getting visuals. At the end of the movie, they come out of the woods and cross a bridge, and then come to crossroads, and then they each go their own separate way down a different street at the crossroads. And that visually describes what happened, but that also like describes exactly what was going on in the story as well, like with the dialogue and everything. So the backgrounds can be very powerful for storytelling.
Oh, that's cool. I never thought about that either. That's really rad. I kind of do that when I write. I think it's because when I start drawing, I don't have the same writer's brain. Like whenever I write stuff for like China or Evan or Christian, any of my artists, I will just throw everything at them, and they're fantastic. I love all my artists I work with. But like I approach that from like a writing and like the storytelling I know how to portray. But when I get to like drawing, I'm just like, I'm gonna make this as simple as possible so I don't like kill myself.
Well,
Sebastian, what's up?
So simple, you want to control the pace of the story, right? So simple will make the story move faster. High panel count and simple backgrounds, less detail is going to quicken the pace of your story. A really detailed background is kind of like in a movie where the camera hangs out in one spot for a minute instead of constantly tracking. So I would say keep that in mind.
The other thing too, like a lot of manga doesn't use a lot of backgrounds or like uses abstract backgrounds because they're conveying emotion. But then when they zoom out to do like an establishing shot, it's like an incredibly detailed background. So a lot of it's like setting your stage and using the tricks. Like a lot of times you'll just see like the joke is that to make a room, all you have to do is add a window and like a chair or like a clock, and it's like, oh, we're in a room. So you can there's like certain tricks to hint at a background or just using an abstract background to like emphasize something. Like when I did the background for RoboCop, it's literally just like a separating light and shadow and then some like accent stuff. But all it does is like add something of visual interest to make him pop out more.
It's a good design element too. You got a diagonal line there too.
Yeah.
If you do a really detailed and lazy on the rest of it, it's pretty forgivable. I think the audience doesn't mind at all.
Yeah, the other, I'm working on like a cover thing right now that's a lot of like forests and like old architecture and stuff like that. And it's driving me crazy because it's almost exclusively just like really detailed backgrounds. And that's a lot.
There's I was doing that in the Hawaii story. There's a trick. If you look at Spielberg, like the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark and stuff, he'll draw something that's almost in silhouette, real close, or not. He'll shoot something so there's like a plant or a tree really close in the foreground, and it's almost in silhouette. And that's a trick to create depth and take away a lot of detail so you can save time. They're shooting through a fence. They're shooting through tree branches. That are dark, close up.
Big foreground elements to add dimension. It's called 3-stage.
Yeah,
that's what that's called.
Yeah, it's one of those 22 panels that always works.
Yep.
You were just playing around with that recently, weren't you, Max? I see something like that. I don't know if
Yeah.
I recalled. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have that hung up next to my drawing table downstairs, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, nice." I
wasn't really trying to like test myself and see like what I could do with it. It was more of just like let me review these and try it out. I haven't done it in a long time.
And in the chat too, we have Victor Mendia showing up. Our dude Victor, everyone go check out Victor's Instagram. It's astonishing. His art blows my mind. And we have Saboteur. You've been at it, Saboteur. Every time you're doing some silk screening now, like doing some T-shirts or posters or something. I saw that looks sick. And then Steve Fraga says, "Hey, bro, what up, Steve?"
Hey, Steve. Steve is a longtime supporter turned into really good friend. He's kind of been seeing me even before I started my own original stuff and everything. So that's pretty cool that he stuck around. Right. So I'm pretty grateful about it.
Yeah, having the people, it kind of trips me out sometimes when Max is one of those people who have like been around since the beginning of like your comic book endeavors and seeing the growth and seeing, like having those people around you is such a trip because you're like, oh, like how did we meet? And then you look back at how much has happened since before. Then you're like, holy crap, you've seen everything I've done, like every bit of it. Oh, Saboteur says, yes, gonna try to make some newspapers. Dude, that's sick. That's awesome. We might need to talk.
Yeah, you should hit me up. Because I'll tell you right now, it's trickier than you think, but that's okay.
Saboteur's been really, really busy lately. I love seeing that. But actually, what you're talking about with like buildings and whatnot, like, what are your guys' like? What's your best approach to doing a complicated building or something like that? Is tracing an option at that point, or is it just like redoing panel over panel and light boxing? Like, what's your? I'm sure every option is like a viable option, but what are your guys' approaches and thoughts on that?
Well, I think tracing is fine for depending on the background that you're doing. But it's you want to like trace minimally and then like add your own stuff and style on top of it. The other thing too is to work with your simple shapes, cubes and rectangles, and then rendering from big to small, right? So like you render the bigger details and the general shadows, and then you go in and you add things like windows and railings and whatever. But a lot of it is patience and just like knowing, or like I guess having the practice to do it. If you've never drawn a complicated cityscape before, it's going to be hell. And then the more you do it, the easier it becomes because you figure out what works for you and the shortcuts.
Yeah, there's no getting around practice. It just takes a lot of practice.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen a lot of like stuff where I'm just like, I feel like that building is a bit too perfect to something, and then I'm just like, well, that's like especially if it's a specific building, that's where I get a lot of those vibes. I feel like when you're making your own or running off of an image, that's a little bit easier to like you could tell the difference in that too.
That's the problem with tracing. What they taught me in school was, a lot of commercial artists trace. They kind of have to meet their deadlines. What they said was, you don't start tracing until all it does is save you time. If what you trace looks so much better than everything else you drew, you fail.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be tracing. You're not ready to trace yet. Basically, you're ready to trace when you don't need to trace anymore. It's just a time saver.
Huh.
That's such a good line. I need to remember that because a lot of people will ask me what I think about tracing, and that's exactly how I feel about it, but I've never been able to put it in words. I've seen a lot of people like, I use a lot of references for, let's say, like the sticky bones or sometimes like the 3D dolls in Clip Studio, but like you should never trace those because if you don't have a good understanding of how the anatomy of what that's portraying works, like the people who are going to see it are gonna know that you just traced it. So I think that's really important that like you're using it as a time saver and not as a crutch. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's kind of awesome. So what I did, it's because of that. I was in a time crunch. I actually only had like one afternoon to finish making this. Like, so I made a mini comic for a workshop I did recently about my daughter. I'm gonna mute Carl real fast. The mic is getting a little fuzzy. I think rubbing against it a little bit. But did this mini comic. On the back of it, when you open it up, like I gave instructions on how to make it, so supplies and like the fold and the cut, and then I drew my library, but I took a picture of my library, and then I kind of just like put into I did all of this on Procreate, all the inking, and then I just kind of like traced a little bit over it, but then I was like, you know what, it's not like to the T of it, but I kind of just worked with my own little random lines to fill it in. So I technically traced it, but then like I did what Max said, like I kind of put my own little spin on some spots too, because there's so much architecture and like detail to my library up front. I was like, I'm just gonna simplify the hell out of it. But it was also from a picture I took, and then but I literally only had like 3 hours before I had to turn that in. There was no way I was gonna do that fast. Well,
Yeah, that's not unusual.
but there again, I was just like, man, I gotta draw buildings more. It's another. Speaking of backgrounds, that's part of that. While I'm in New York, I should try to take a bunch of photos and come back to kind of study them.
I've seen a lot of especially like webcomic artists, they're starting to learn how to make buildings and backgrounds in Blender, and then they'll use that to like as a 3D rotational background for their characters. I of course like I get motion sick pretty easily, and Blender is no exception to that. So I haven't actually tried to do that. For a time saver, though, I will pay for. There's been a couple of times now. I will pay for the commercial rights of like a 3D Blender background that's already made. So I think in my comic, there's a flashback scene where they're like in a construction site, and the thought of like having to draw all of those like huge construction machines, and the buildings at several different angles was really daunting to me. And I just wanted to concentrate on like the drama of the characters. So, but at the same time, I wanted to stay ethical. I didn't want to like steal from anybody. So to me, just buying the commercial rights to those things, which can get a little pricey, but it's worth the time to save, in my opinion.
I can see that. That makes sense. Sebastian, dude, you gotta sit properly so I could draw now. My cat is just spinning around in my lap, and he's my big cat. So it means I can't just work around you. Just staring at me blankly. Come on, lay down. Yeah, that's buildings are wild, man. Like it's crazy how simple you can make them, or I guess with any drawing, I guess. But like the more I'm like staring at a building, I'm like, there's so much. So like every construct, I was like, I never really kind of paid attention to detail until I started drawing things like that. Hobbs, what are you working on right now? Dude, those leaves look epic.
So I'm working on a project with Carly, the Snug Hollow project, and so she wrote a story, and so I'm doing spot illustrations for her story, and so it's a story that takes place in fall, so it's very timely. So this is like one of the things that might be in the village is like this little arch of pumpkin plants, the basket, near one of the farms of the village. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. So all the things I've got a bunch of these illustrations that we worked on last weekend, and then I've been meaning to ink them all week, and I just haven't had a chance. So I'm trying to do kind of that, like I don't know, the old illustrated book, from the early 1900s, like the Winnie the Pooh, or Wizard of Oz, Peter Pan, like those, just kind of single line weight hatching, which is pretty different from what I usually do, which is usually heavier line weight. It's still detailed, but I lean more cartoony when I do my own stuff. But she wanted things to be a little bit less cartoony for this, so that's what I'm doing.
Oh, that's super cool, dude. Yeah, the texture and the leaves are just really fun.
Thanks.
Do you use a mechanical pencil, or is that?
So I use was a lead holder, but the old Bic number 2.7 lead. It's kind of my favorite tool, and I think mostly because it reminds me of when I used to play D&D as a kid. and I used to, do sketches in the side of my papers and stuff like that. But so when I'm doing my rough sketches, I'll do this. But then when I do my tight sketches, I'll switch to the lead holder, and I'll work with that. I tried the blue pencil when I first started, and I don't know, I could not wrap my head around it. It bothered me. So I use a light box instead now.
I could totally understand that. The blue line was a adjustment for sure. I tried, this is the first blue line pencil I've gotten that actually like works for me, I feel. Because I just never, I don't know, it just couldn't click in my brain. I get what you mean. I don't know how to explain it other than it just like didn't click. I couldn't see it properly, you know?
Well, and then you don't really erase them when you're done, right? You leave them.
Right.
They live there. And that also really bothered me, that it didn't have it didn't feel like I had a complete, finished work, because it was just a stage of the process that was going to be scanned in, and the blue lines were going to stay there. And so I don't know. I like having this like finished artifact when I'm done that could, be displayed if I wanted it to, even though I don't, but usually, but
yeah, I actually just recently changed my opinion about that, where like I've been doing some stuff that like very intentionally is going to be framed afterward. Like I know that it's going framed and it's going somewhere. But in like thinking about comics, like I feel like such an important part of the medium is that it is like production art, It's not like finely polished the way like certain illustrations are or paintings are. It's like very much is like get the job done on the paper, and then it can be like cleaned up later for the final printing. So I'm doing stuff like leaving tape, like leaving whiteout, maybe an under pencil, leaving paste ups on there when it's framed, so that there is a tangible difference between what's printed and what's hung up on the wall and viewed as art. But it varies on your style. If you have something that is very clean, like it's gonna make more sense to remove any of those distractions.
Yeah, well, that's generally speaking, that's what I do, right? Like I do like almost 100% of everything traditional, and then I add the word. I scan it in and I add the words on using Illustrator. So part of the reason why I probably think that way is because that's like my working method, right? Is that it's going to be 100% traditional, and the computer is going to play very little role, and I'm not going to pass it off to another person either, generally. So I guess it was kind of developed over time. When I first started, I was doing black line art, scan it in, and then color on the computer, which is pretty standard, and it still is. But yeah, I wanted to be off the computer as much as I could, and that was the breaking point, because I had a job with computers and I just didn't care for it, and so it was like, I don't want to be on a computer if I don't have to be.
That makes sense too. But yeah, honestly, like the blue line, I'm trying to think what I've done since I've really transitioned completely to blue line now. I think honestly, because the intention is I want to scan it and I want to like figure it out, so I really haven't thought about it too much. But every single one of my other drawings, that was like one of my favorite things to do, is like finish my inks so I could like erase all the pencil and see how clean it looks on the paper, and that's always awesome. Even Carl, like, what are you using to draw, like, for your pencils? What tools are you always using? Such meticulous, like.
Yeah. So I go from a 2H to a 4B.
Okay, so very specific, yeah.
Yeah, with an HB is like equivalent to a number 2 pencil. So yeah, I just get a pencil set and I replace them all the time. 2B, 3B, those are probably the most versatile. Those are what I use the most. I also do a lot of adjusting of the contrast in Photoshop too. That saves me hours.
Okay, that makes sense too.
Yeah, I've actually been looking at a lot of manga where they drop in gray, 1, 2, or just 3 tones of gray, not faded or anything, just solid, and it really makes things pop. You can add a lot of depth. And it just because I'm doing so much with the pencil, it saves me a lot of time. But I'm also someone who'll just go without sleep. To spend hours. I'll spend an extra 3 hours on a city building and just sleep 3 hours less. That's just me. I wouldn't recommend that, but that's what I do.
You're like, you wanted the real answer, so this is. Yeah, honestly, though, that's just the way. Because I mean, traditionally, like Hobbs, like your work. I mean, between your penciling to inking to coloring phase, do you even ink much technically when you color a whole lot, or do you try to color things traditionally first? How do you layer
No,
that?
I still go through the process. It goes pencils, inks, and then markers, and then airbrush. So it's still, yeah. I had to find. I mean, it's pretty common now, but when I was first starting, I was having a real problem with like the alcohol markers smudging everything. So yeah, I had special little ink bottles that I was getting that to finally figure out how that could work. And then I've tried to ink with a brush. I've tried to ink with a quill pen. I've tried to ink with pen, just the technical pens. And so what I ended up doing with my work is that I'll do the outlines with a brush, and I use one of the manga brushes that and it can hold a point really, really well. Or you just a sable hair brush, like something really, really good. And then the interior lines I'll do mostly with the the microns or the Copic pens, that type of thing. So it's kind of a back and forth. I really enjoy using a brush, but I don't have the control to do the hatching and the technical details with the brush. So I end up kind of bouncing back and forth.
Oh, that's interesting. How do you not like? I mean, this might sound goofy, but like, are you just like really good at coloring within the lines so you don't like mess up your inks?
No, I mean you can color right up to the line with those pens, and every once in a while it's funny, the yellows, the lightest colors tend to smudge the inks, right? Probably because they have a higher alcohol content, but the darker colors usually just they don't mess with the inks at all, as long as you're using the right type of ink. But then if you're using the wrong type of ink, all kinds of things can happen. But the line work, I was going to show you an example. So like in this panel, if I can zoom in here, like in this panel, it's like a whole bunch of stuff is going on. I've got like, it was inked first, then it was colored, then there was an airbrush kind of like wash that was put on top of it, and then there was an airbrush glow that's put on top of that. And then for that TV, that's what it's supposed to be, a TV there that she's messing with.
Yeah.
I even used some of like the manga tone stuff. You cut it out, and you put it on to try to get like the static effect.
Oh.
And then I airbrushed over that to try to like mute it a little bit. So it was just like a ton of, and that's part of the fun. It's just kind of experimenting and playing with the materials. And because I'm not really on a deadline, I linger, on panels. I'm not cranking them out the way that I think you would be if you were, working for a company, or you're making a living off of this. I think there's a certain amount of urgency you have to get things finished and, get things done and move on to your next project. But instead I'm like the opposite, where I just sit here and just, doodle and try new things. And then, and hopefully I'm happy, with the final effect. And it's kind of my process. The ink eventually fades out with, like in this one, like it ends up fading into the
Oh wow.
the coloring, because I think that the alcohol breaks the inks up a little bit, and it ends up toning the inks. But the blackest inks, you know, the black lines and the thicker lines, like on that guy's nose, like you can see them. But like in that green area, it was thinner lines, and I don't even know if there was any airbrush on that. That might be all marker. But that was all black ink when I did it, but it's not black ink anymore, you know? So that's kind of an interesting thing that happens with the alcohol markers, and how they kind of, the paper just kind of like keeps changing things as you layer stuff on top of it.
It also depends a lot on the paper that you're using. So
yeah,
if you're using something like copy paper, right, that's really thin, it's just gonna soak everything up and like spread it out, because it's not meant to hold that kind of like ink.
Right,
and then something like a mixed media board is meant to hold that ink and that like alcohol marker. And then something like a heavy watercolor paper will like soak up all of the ink out of your pens. And a lot of times it takes a little bit more layering to get the color that you want, because it's like kind of soaking it up and burying it in the paper.
Yeah, and that's what I end up using. I use like the Arches watercolor paper, and it's 100% cotton, so it does weird things with the airbrush too, where like the fibers of it, I don't know if you can even see that, but you end up getting these extra textures that you didn't intend. I don't know, it's hard to see, but it ends up being like prickly, and that the actual paper, it's like there was a static electricity or something. All the fibers are standing straight up after you're done, so there's these kind of unintended extra effects that, I mean, it ends up giving the look, the work like its own character, but it's not always what you want. And so sometimes you just have to live with something that looks kind of crappy.
Story of my artistic career.
It just gets so technical, you know, like, or it can be. You know, a lot of it's like you don't even think about it. You just think about how it feels, right? And then you decide if you like that or not. But if you know what's actually happening, it gets crazy fast.
That's one thing. The more I've understood like what I'm about to do, like the more like, I wouldn't say confident I get, but like the more I'm like, oh, I can pull this off. I can do this. Like,
yeah. Like something that I'm doing here that I usually don't do is like fill my blacks with graphite or with pencil, right? I don't usually like to do this, because when I put my ink down, it's over the graphite, and so it kind of like doesn't apply the way that I want it to. I'm doing it for this because I needed to figure out where everything was going to go, but if I can avoid it, I usually avoid it.
dude, same actually, especially when I knew I was going to erase my pencils, because I was like, I'm just going to be erasing a giant gray spot. Like, there's no point in me graying it out when I know this is all blacked. And I get why, that's why some people put like the little X's to indicate where blacks go and whatnot. But actually, with this little xenomorph I did, I'm trying to map out the blacks before I hop into inking, because it's so black. So at least I know where to go, you know?
That's
like,
that's why I'm doing it this way, is because there is so much black that I like, okay, I need to actually see this in order to figure out if it works or not.
Plus, my first attempt at inking is going to be digital anyways, with that in mind. So it's going to be fun to come back to in a couple months when I'm just like, I want to ink something real fast tonight, you know, or warm up, and I just pull out one of these cards and I ink it physically, or test out a new brush or something.
Yeah.
But really, when you were saying, like, you know, our last stream where you're like, you know, you just got to focus, you know, Inktober is supposed to help you grow. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Like every year, it's definitely done something for me. I think this is the third year I've done it. Third or fourth. I wanted to say my third though. But I know one year I did it specifically because like I want to draw and I want to get in the habit of drawing. So I'm gonna try to draw every day. You know, it doesn't matter what comes out. Like you just figure it out. And so I was just trying to get myself in the habit. And then the second year, I think had a bit more intention. I don't remember if this is my third or fourth year, but then like last year we did it for the stream, and that was my whole thing. I was just like, I'm just trying to do it for the show. But this year I actually have like, oh, I have some small goals I'm gonna try to work through and do this time.
Yeah.
Are you doing the Cosmic Lion Inktober row, or are you just gonna be focusing on these commissions and that's like gonna be your October?
Oh, I don't know if did Cosmic Line come out with one.
Oh, did they? I thought they did. I feel like they do.
Oh, I think that they may not. The last time I checked, which was like 2 days ago, they were gonna just go with yours.
Oh, really? Oh, cool. Sweet. All right.
But I think so, because everyone was like, oh, but there was a lot of good things that came out of COP stuff last year.
Yeah.
Especially Sean Riaz and Anton. They both did like such amazing work. They were really dedicated to it, I think, last year. But I think Eli, he's been doing more shows than me, and I've been super busy. So I think he just hasn't gotten it down yet. But
Makes sense.
yeah, I think it's just draw every day is what we were discussing, I think, in kind of the CLP chats and stuff. Just make sure you put something out, every day if you want, with a no pressure thing. But for the most part, I thought they were just going to default to yours.
Oh, rad. That's awesome. Yeah, you actually, I have two of Anton's little zines, his Cosmic Lion Tober. Oh, it's just the same year, actually. Just I have two versions of it. Okay. Yeah, he killed it, dude. Anyone doesn't know about Anton Blake, go look that guy up, because Anton is
amazing artist,
awesome.
And even like equally as an amazing editor. Like I end up kind of deferring to his judgment when I'm not sure about something, in terms of like, there's a lot of people giving me their work at cons now. they're just like, oh, consider my stuff, and then I'm sent home with homework. And I will find a lot of things that I'm not sure about, and it's never like, oh, this art's not good enough. It's not that. It's just like, it's usually like, should we go with this genre or whatever? And we're still kind of in the process. But anyway, he helps me a lot with that. And I'm pretty open that I defer to his judgment a lot. So I think our whole thing is that we're trying to make sure that like the pipeline to Eli is like good, because Eli's a lot, I think, pickier than me in terms of like who to consider. So.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. It's
in a good way.
Oh yeah, especially like even running Apollo and who we let into Apollo and publish, like there's such a big filter and a big thing you have to kind of go through to get mixed in, because I feel like especially with publishers at our level, you also have to kind of be good friends, like we're really small. It's not like we're not big enough to be like, oh yeah, I've signed this person and we have some good contact, but you don't really know them. Like DC and them could hire, these other studios could hire whoever they want, but like it's so much more intimate with us,
Yeah.
So it's
I
important to
appreciate,
keep.
though, from what I heard from friends, that DC is pretty good about trying to preserve that feel, though, despite them
really?
being bigger. Yeah.
That's great. I didn't know that. That's rad.
I haven't personally worked for them, but the two people that I've talked to that said that they try to keep it like small run feel, keep up connections that way and stuff.
Sure, it's really difficult at that level too. You need to be somewhat intimate. Yeah, I mean, The people you let into your realm are so important, like so insanely important, and especially because it defines you, even as like in a marketing sense, like as a brand. Like you kind of like I feel like Cosmic Lion has like a vibe, 100%. Like I look at the creators and I'm like, this all makes sense. Like I get this, Um, and Apollo is really taking that shape now. Like we're finally, I mean, it's CLP is like 10 years ahead of us in a lot of ways, but we're finally getting that like really good groove of what we're being defined as, and I really enjoy that.
Were you were you at LA Comic Con at all? No.
No,
Last
no,
weekend?
no. I haven't been to the West Coast in a minute.
So that was my first West Coast con in a hot minute as well. I'd say in a few years. And I kind of didn't know what to expect because the last time I was at a West Coast con, I think I was like there proxying for someone and also selling my fan art. But it turned out there's a lot of things. I think specifically with LA Comic Con, a lot of people were really upset with all of the artists, even the big name artists being stuck downstairs, and there was like no signage like pointing people to downstairs.
Oof.
Like on day 3, I overheard, like I counted at least 8 people or 8 groups of people just kind of saying, "What? There's more down here?" And they only have like an hour or 2 left of the con, and I was like,
Wow.
"Sorry guys, but it's been here all weekend," So some
Mhm.
people definitely felt that, but I think for the most part, like I was happy with where I was at and how things happened for me despite all of that. And I definitely felt some of that too, where a lot of people were just like, "What? I didn't know you were down here," But gosh, why am I bringing this up? Oh yeah, I'm really scared to do West Coast cons. I'll be honest. West Coast cons really freak me out because I
You know
think
what you should do is you should do West Coast Zine Fests, man.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I applied to like a short run because I'm originally from Seattle, and I applied to short run. I've probably applied over 10 times in the past like 15 years, and every time they reject me.
If
They
you
never-
if you know where to look, so I'm from Orange County,
yeah,
and if you know where to look in that area, there's like especially right now, it's like Zine Fest season. So there's like 3 or 4 Zine Fests going on all in October that are all like between free and like $100 to table, and we always do so well at them. It's
nice.
awesome. Yeah. But it's like the big Zine Fest, like SPX or Short Run or whatever, like because they're big, they attract a lot of like really big creators, and sometimes you can kind of go down, and then the table costs are really high, or it's really hard to get into them. But the little Zine Fests are really cool.
So what's the one that you recommend on the West Coast then?
Orange County Zine Fest, which is usually at a library in like Santa Ana or Anaheim. It's free to table, and it's always a really good show, and the people who run it are awesome. San Diego Zine Fest is really big and usually multi-day. Also really good. There's Oceanside Zine Fest. I think there's one in Long Beach too. But our main ones are Orange County and Oceanside. Sometimes Pomona does one, which that one's okay. I think it depends on the location for that one, but yeah, I mean there's a lot, and I bet you like there's a lot on the East Coast too that are really small that you've never heard of, and like.
Yeah, I got accepted into Rice, and I was kind of sad that I didn't get to go because there was the same exact weekend as Staple, which is local to me.
Gotcha.
But I'm trying to think of what else. I've been doing a lot of East Coast ones, so like not the tiny ones, but indie comic creative ones, or indie comic creator con and heroes. And I think I did one in the SPX, but I haven't done like one of those smaller ones. But Rice would have been, I guess, one of those smaller ones for me if I was gonna go.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing about SPX, that table price is so high, dude.
It
Like
was
$400.
high, yeah.
I was like glad I didn't get it. Like,
My table cost, like, or the cost for me being there was even high, even after splitting the table. And objectively, like, Rick and I did not do badly. It was still hard to, for the size of show it was, I was kind of shocked at how expensive it was to be there. But,
yeah.
It's a learning experience. I was really grateful to be there. And I knew, again, I wasn't going to make it a ton of money. So I just thought, okay, well, I'll just try to make my mark or whatever you do it, and I think I did that. But it's one of those things too, like I'm thinking about what shows I'm going to do next year. And right now, like my family is really wanting me to only do 4 or 5 shows next year. And so I really have to choose like, okay, which ones, because recently, like if I apply, I've been noticing that I've been having a lot more success getting in rather than rejected. So at this point, I have to like assume that, okay, if I apply to this, then I might get in. And also too, like, I don't want to apply if I'm not serious about going, because I always worry about getting blacklisted if I get accepted and then I say, actually, no, because I know that some event runners are like that. I kind of suspect DreamCon is a little bit like that because I told them no once and now they reject me every time.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, but DreamCon is, if you could get into it, that's so good for comic creators. I was really shocked. Like a lot of the comic creators that I saw there, they were like the last or the beginning hours of Sunday, they were already at the last few books. It's a 3-day con, so. And I would ask them like, how many books did you come, here with? And they would say like 100 or 200. And but I think
that's.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Deciding on. Oh no, you're good. Deciding on the cons is so hard. That's where I'm kind of at too. I don't know. The profit and loss and the energy and time, like it's all worth it. You know what I mean? Like you're committing, but I guess it just depends. I guess especially for me personally, like it's kind of hard to balance it all out with like doing the shows and then like running stuff the way I do. I'd have to really like slow down Apollo and kind of get like a grip on CWS to an extent because things have been so everywhere, like just nonstop with like projects and big things. I'm just like cons just feel so exhausting. Like
I feel that, right? I'm right there with you.
The Apollo Street Team, man.
I try not to say it because I don't want to sound ungrateful. I've had somebody say that to me recently, where like if I complain about like how exhausting it is, they're like, "Wow, you sound really ungrateful," and I'm like, "What?"
I feel that. Yeah, no, I get that. I try to, especially when I complain about like work or whatnot, I always, preface like, I love my job. I have the coolest job in the world, but it's still like, still a job. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I love, this is the coolest thing I get to do in the world, but I'm at work right now.
Yeah.
Like it's and even for stuff like, I get to go to New York Comic Con and Baltimore, I'm basically working like 2.5, 3 weeks straight without weekends, and so that's where I'm just like, it's fun until like I put into that perspective, but then you just gotta remind yourself of why you're doing it and the excitement behind it. But it's like, I am working way more all of October than I do any other month almost because of events, and I have to come back and then do follow-ups and then do the shows and keep it going. But it's not to be ungrateful.
A lot of these events don't allow proxying, which I understand, but at the same time, like one of my friends was talking about, because I have a lot of health issues, and so if you follow any of my stories for anyone who does that, like they'll see like how I'm kind of getting around the certain health issues at certain events. So at LA Comic Con, for example, at Kentia Hall, I cannot breathe. So there I have really bad asthma. So I have to bring like canned oxygen basically to survive off of while I'm there. And especially with how smoggy LA is, like I'm part of those sensitive groups.
Oh, yeah.
And I tried to move to like a more better location. And I even had a doctor's note, but the runners of LA Comic Con were like, yeah, no, tough luck. So I was like, oh no. But the canned oxygen really helped. Like I'm gonna do that anytime that I'm stuck in Kentia Hall in that venue. Gosh, where was I going?
Dude, like literally like in Spaceballs, like canned oxygen, is that like
It's
Yeah, Milo's huffing that stuff too because he went from sea level to like 16,000 feet above sea level.
Yeah, so
You know?
so I forgot what it was, what the units of measurement were, but I think if it's like 300 to 400 for CO2, that's considered like pretty bad. And in Kentia Hall, like say like Anime Expo and the Artist Alley, where they have like 900 artists down there, and like in addition to the attendees, it can get up to 6,000 units and carbon monoxide and stuff, or carbon dioxide, whatever you call it. Not carbon monoxide, everyone's gonna die, but you know what I mean? So for the people who like don't know about Kentia Hall, especially during Anime Expo and it's their first time, like there's always that handful of artists that just start passing out in front of people. So it gets pretty bad there. But yeah, even San Japan, like my asthma was so bad, I had to start taking steroids when I don't like taking them because they keep me up. So I was up all weekends, and that was really tough.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't like stuff like that. Like I can't like.
I don't like that either.
That's
Yeah.
that gives me like flashbacks when I was
that's why I
younger.
brought it up. My friend was talking about how like proxying, if under the right conditions, like say for example somebody's disabled or whatever, like what if they're not like able to travel on a plane or whatever, that they should allow proxying in those kind of situations where, in terms of just to make it more accessible. And I thought about that, like how great would it be if I could do that, but at the same time I know that I probably can't, because what if someone wants an on-site commission, like I can't exactly mail it to them or whatever. But for the people who don't need that, it was just one of those things that
you have to pull like an Invader Zim where like Dib's dad goes to school on the little like computer monitor. He's just like floating around.
Yeah, honestly. That's wild. That's crazy. I didn't realize you had. It's weird because I watch your stories. I guess I just never processed it, or when I did see them. That's wild. That's really.
Yeah, I won't mention them all, like every story. But there'll be like a couple of stories where I'll do that. And I know during cons, like I make a lot of stories because again, I'm trying to be good about.
That's what I've noticed for sure. Is like I loved watching like your little mic talks that you've been doing.
Oh, thank you. I was really worried that they were annoying, but
no, they're awesome. Whenever and like I hate how much I'm on my phone because of work and whatnot. But like you see, whenever I'm seeing updates and whatnot, and I come across it, I love seeing the row updates. I think that stuff's cool. I wish I did that stuff more. I think it's like something I would. That's why I'm doing the whole Cats, Comics, and Coffee thing, because I can have a presence. I could do stuff, and people have asked me to. I don't feel like I'm good at it, and like I get excited about it for like a week, and then it's so hard to be consistent with staying up with that stuff, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think part of it is like get like to some extent like making it routine and then like getting over it, right? So it's like like that's my problem when I'm trying to get over it too, is that like when I go to make a reel or something, I get weird about what I'm gonna say, or like having a script, or like what the heck it's gonna be about. And sometimes like I just need to turn on the camera and yap.
Yeah,
you know.
dude, 100%. And that's exactly, you could tell with the next couple of Cats Comics and Coffee that are coming out. I did Ian Cinco's book, Neon Spring, and then I did issue 1 of Astro Alliance. And like, it was like even a day I didn't feel like doing reels, but I was like, I have to do this. And so like, I don't think I did the best, but I'm like, it's done. It's out there. Like, who cares? Like, I took the time to make a video for someone's book. That's good. It doesn't need to be like I also forget like places that make it look really nice. That's either all they do or they have a team. And making content is definitely not the highest priority on my to-do list in terms of quality, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I get that. Like a lot of it's too just like knowing tricks to like make it look good enough.
Yeah.
Because like
yeah.
again, I can't dedicate all day to doing this unless
Oh, exactly.
unless I say I'm not making stuff for this like month. I'm not making art this month. I'm so like doing media and advertising this month. You know, then it's like okay, then I can maybe justify spending a few days on a reel or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I do now is like and that's why I kind of named that show that so that I could do it first thing in the morning. Like I drop off Lex at work and I come home, I'll read a couple issues and then I have to make content. Like I'll record for like, 30, 40 minutes. Not even that. I think that's total with switching stuff over and, airdropping files. And then I spend like another hour or so editing before I send it to Eric Allred to add music and some flair. But I'm trying to do 2 videos a week and then release them either twice a week or once a week. I totally fell off this past week because I was prepping so much for Baltimore Comic Con. Which you guys want to see something cool? Actually, I don't think I'll give everyone a cool little. I got the cover for Baltimore Comic Con today, and it's the coolest thing ever. You know what? I have to airdrop it to my computer. So I think you guys are all going to dig this a whole lot. If you guys have been watching my stories, you guys have been seeing what I've been doing a little bit on it. But I wanted to really have this anthology like encompass indie creators and really like make it pop and stand out and represent us. Dang it. I don't have it like ready. I guess I'll show you like a mock-up. I feel bad now. I kind of hyped this up way too much and I don't have the right file on my phone. Let me see if I can airdrop this. Yeah, boy. Yeah, so check this out. I'm gonna see image file. Dude, check this out. I don't know how this is gonna work. Oh, it's down here. Dude, check that out. So Javi Martinez did I told everyone we're gonna do like a fractal cover. And so I had Javi Martinez do this part. Doug Knight did this. I did this section. Daryl Murphy did this. Eric Allred did this part, and Jade Louder. All these people are going to be at Baltimore, so I chose them. But I think this is one of the coolest cover ideas I've ever come up with, and I think it encompasses like indie creators and style and versatility and whatnot too. I love Javi. He's so cute. Look at this little corner. It's so, and then like it's all metal for me and Doug. Super awesome. But yeah, there's that.
Super
Stuff.
cool.
I don't know how I started talking about that. Oh, I didn't put Rose stuff. There you go, bro. I don't know how I did that. Oh, I think it switched some stuff over. I don't know what I did. I'm sorry.
Do I need to fix it?
I think you need to fix
I
it.
think so. I have like an
Okay.
unnecessary one that just has my voice.
Oh, I see what happened here. There
There
we
you
go.
go.
Yeah, that's good. That's odd.
That cover was
I was
super
thinking-
cool.
Thanks. Yeah, it's the team killed it. They did so good. Let me catch up on the chat real fast here. We have TK, which I believe is Tanner Klessens, I want to say, our boy. He's been doing a lot of cool stuff on Instagram. John Part-Time Comics, what up, my dude? Sean Riaz says Ro Higashi is such an inspiration.
Dude, that guy's art is like boss. I don't know why he's telling me that.
We get Sean on here soon. That'd be super cool. Shoot me a message, Sean, if you want to come on the show. Cats, Comics, and Coffee are the 3 best things ever. Dude, honestly, I I even said in the first video, I'm just like, I give up trying to try to get my cats out of the video, so now they're part of the segment. So every video you could expect to see a cat shenanigan, whether it's on purpose or I insert it in. Typically, they're just jerks and they do stuff while I'm filming. So, Retro Roman Doomsday Simulation Channel said, "Hey, had you on the background was deeply involved editing a video." Yeah, speaking of editing, oh, it is Tanner. Yeah, boy. And then Steve Fraga says, Cantina Hall is such a sardine can. Oh, I guess LA Comic Con. Dude, that's my biggest gripe about cons too. And I won't even I get that's where I get upset. I feel like indie creators get shoved in the corner. We don't get attention. We pay for half of the con because they charge us $400 for a table. You know what I mean? They don't really represent us. They need indie conventions. Tanru is cats aren't jerks, they're misunderstood. Are you misunderstood, T'Challa? Uh-huh. Stares at me blankly. I love them. Cons I feel like need to do better and treat their artists better. I do a scavenger hunt for Artist Alley in Baltimore. I make sure that I do a cool thing where you go win prizes and you have to go up to comic creators and you have to hear their pitch for their book. And after you hear their pitch for their book, you get a signature, and once they sign off, you get a prize. And so the prizes get bigger as you interact with more creators. Last year I had like 180 or 160 something comic creators on that list. This year I only have about 120. And that was like kind of disheartening to like see. And I'm like, this should be about comics.
I'm going on strike. Like I'm not doing them anymore.
Dude, I'm kind of with you on that.
The cost and the way we're treated. Like, I'm doing a show this weekend, but it's at a small place where they have like teens. They teach free art classes for teens, and they let them do punk shows and stuff there, and it's free. Like I only get half a table, but they're not asking for any money.
Should
That's
always
cool.
be free, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're giving them exposure. We're driving
Yeah,
traffic to them.
if the pool is seeing the creators, but you're gonna charge the creators like an arm and a leg to be there, I don't know, man.
Yeah, not even just charge, but like Phoenix won't even let you bring your own food in. You know, they make you go through security.
Dude, so I did this past weekend, I did a workshop at my local library. I did that little zine workshop where I was showing that spot comic. T'Challa, stop it. We were hanging out, and I forgot, like, the last time we did an event at the library, they were so sweet. They were like, oh, we have snacks. Like, they had fruit and, like, granola bars, and they were handing out waters. And then I was like, dude, no con ever does this. Like, convention should give us food discounts at the wherever, or, like, a credit, you know what I mean? Like, a drink ticket or something.
What I found out, like with Phoenix, sorry, my dogs are going nuts. I don't know if you can hear them. Like what I found out at Phoenix is like they have Artist Alley, but then they also have Creator Alley. And Creator Alley, you're invited, and it's free, and they give you free food. But Artist Alley is like $650.
What? That's wild.
Yeah, like Nate got 2 free tables.
Wow.
With passes, with extra passes.
That's a steal. Yeah.
Like we're basically paying for them to get in for free. And I know some of the names were big. That, it was like Ralph Macchio was there, and some old, a lot of old school Marvel and DC people were there.
Retro Roman Doomsday Simulation Channel says, I'm at Artist Alley October 11th at the Anime Con in RVA, so Richmond, Virginia. Cheers to everyone putting out their work out there. Dude, that's sick. I want to do one of those Richmond cons. Maybe we'll link up soon.
Ooh, is it your first time doing that one, or do you usually do that one, the Richmond one?
I've never done them. I know Retro Roman, the guy in the chat, they're in that area. I would love to see how those do. And honestly, like Richmond's only 2 hours away from me, and I've heard there's a really good scene down there. For zines, for honestly, where I'm at, like Richmond, in that Richmond area, and like Winchester and DC, there's tons of zine fest too, small press stuff. And in North Carolina, we're like Milk and Honey. Have you guys ever heard of them? Milk and Honey Comics? I think it's Milk and Honey. I could be wrong. I could totally be wrong. I think it is though. But they were at SPX too, but they run a little convention down there as well. Is it Soupin Honey? Stone Soup Zine Fest. That's what it is.
Yes, I know Stone Soup.
Zine Fest. Yeah, and Milk and Honey Comics. Yeah, that is them. All right, cool. Yeah, great people. You guys should all check them out. I really want to jump into that one too. Yeah, cons are rough, man. I don't know. I have a whole thing about all of them.
Are we ready to make a spike store? Just do our own cons?
Yes, dude, yes. Make our own Spike con. We'll do it right next to Baltimore and all these other ones. Like, I love that. Saboteur said, "What happened to good old days when shows were in some shitty hotel lobby? Now I could ever see a show in convention halls." Dude, I used to work at a Wyndham for like, it was my first job. I worked there for like 4 years. And they always had a little comic convention there, the El Paso Comic Con. And so when I was like a server, I would like dip out for a minute and just go check out some stuff and get a vibe for it. Back before I was really like before I was even ever considering making comics, it was just like a fun thing I enjoyed. But I love seeing them in like little hotels. That's where SPX is.
I met J.O. Bar like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
right when
that's
Pro first came out. I mean, I'm dating myself here, but he didn't talk. he's the kind of guy you'd expect him to be. But his girlfriend was really nice, and she explained everything he was doing to us.
Oh, that's cool. I was scheduled to interview him like in 2017, and he just never showed up to New York Comic Con, so I never got to interview him. He just like skipped out. Retro Man Doomsday Civilization channel says, "I'm also about 2 hours south near VA Beach. Just want to get out there. It looks like a small event. Should be fun. And talks to a comic shop to do some college tour thing." Oh, cool. Dude, yeah, there's some good stuff around there. I definitely got to make my way south more.
Okay, guys, I gotta close out, but I hope it's okay to leave a little early. Thank you so much. This was so fun. I'm so glad that I could be on here again.
Yes, thank you. Whenever you want, of course, you're in the chat. You know how it goes. And just thank you for coming today. Love hanging out with you.
Yeah, likewise.
Oh,
thank
and Lex says hi. She's here.
Awesome. Tell her I said hey.
I will.
All right.
All right. Later, bro.
Good night, you guys. Love the art. It's so amazing.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
So everyone can check out Ro's stuff in the link below. For everyone's stuff is there as well. So, yeah. Hobbs is just focused, dude. Hobbs is pulling a max tonight. He's like he's not chatting. He's just zoned. You know what I mean? Like in the most productivity out of all of us.
This is the only thing I've done all week. So I haven't really drawn a thing since Sunday. So, and today's Thursday. And I had promised myself that I would be drawing all day today. And then I had all this other things. And I mean, I'll be honest, I played video games for an hour. Like I did. But it was after dealing with what I thought was a broken fridge. So like.
Yeah, sometimes you just need that. Dude, I'm trying to be more gentle with myself and just like, I'm trying to give myself video game time just to like disconnect from everything else I do. Like, sometimes I just don't want to be near comics or books or anything. And I'm like, you know what? Red Dead's been great lately. It's been therapeutic. Like, plus I feel like I'm getting stuff done when I complete missions. Like,
yeah. But like after the Kickstarter that I ran too, it was just like, I needed it. It's such a drain on you. And like now that it's done, I'm really happy about it, and I'm like, it was successful. But I was just so beat by the end of it that it was hard to even enjoy, like, you know, the success of having it done. And so now I'm, you know, the book should be in, I think maybe tomorrow. So I'm super psyched to see that. And like, you know, the best feeling is like you hold that book in your hand when it's done. So, you know, I'm hoping everything goes well. And I ordered Pogs too. Did I tell you about the Pogs?
Yeah, dude, that's so sick.
And so,
oh man,
that was it's kind of like a wait and see. I think they're being printed. It's like this one guy has this business. Seems like it's a side business, and I was kind of worried because I didn't hear from him right away, and I had promised, like, you know, the backers Pogs, and then I started trying to figure out how am I going to print Pogs, and then I find out that Pogs have like a very specific, you know, size and shape. And I'm looking at all of these like companies that print on demand for like game pieces and stuff like that. And I was kind of panicking at that point, but the guy came through. So hopefully I'll have Pogs. And so now I want to get into Pogs.
Sorry, we all locked in. we took you talking as our chance to.
Yeah, that's cool. You took my drawing
Well,
cheat. That's fine.
I don't know anything about Hog.
I didn't either. Pogs were these. It was a flash in the pan. It was like mid 90s, 1993, and it started as milk caps in Hawaii. And it was just like a community game that children would play where you throw, you know, like a hard cap at a bunch of milk caps that are upside down, and then you try to flip them over. And if you can flip them over, you get to keep them. And so it's kind of, I don't know if it's quite gambling, but it's like everybody would bring 10 of their milk caps. And I guess the milk caps had like special things printed on them, right? And then people would play this game and they would flip them, and then it caught fire in the US, and then all of a sudden everything you could think of was printed on a Pog. They have Spawn Pogs, they have Simpsons Pogs, they have you know, Power Rangers Pogs, Goosebumps Pogs.
yeah, dude, I had a bunch of those, man. That's what I was super hyped to hear, because I had Beetleborgs Pogs. I don't know if you guys remember
Beetleborgs. Oh, that's a deep cut.
Yeah, dude, it's on Tubi. I found out.
When are they bringing Bionicles back, man?
Dude, right? Like the OG good stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I was so into Bionicles. I just saw a commercial about that recently too. So I was supposed to just I was literally just supposed to like wrap up this pencil drawing and then just start inking my two. I'm a day ahead on my Inktober, but I kind of just like really went really hard on this one. I'm still not done, which is awesome. It's I didn't realize how much I'd get into doing these small little sketch cards. I've never done something like this before.
So when you're doing Inktober, is like that's your thing, right? You're not actually trying to do other projects, or are you?
Oh no,
trying
I
to
am.
Yeah, no,
you
I
are?
am too. Yeah.
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 I tried
I
Inktober
had-
last year for the first time in a long time, and I did 2 drawings, and I clocked out. I was like, "This. If I do Inktober, I will do nothing else." So I just there was no way for me to manage that, and I couldn't. And I guess it's my problem because I couldn't be happy with the things that I was doing if I had to do them quickly. So I just now I've got a lot of anxiety about Inktober.
Well, dude, that's why the last couple of times I've tried Inktober, I only did pencils every year, and then I go back and like throughout whatever November, December, I just start inking stuff. But this year I that's why I'm gonna pencil a small image, which I have a bunch of these cards, and then I'm gonna ink them all digitally, so I kind of get some speed in there too.
Yeah, well, and me and Brandon are also at an unfair advantage because we tried to complete a drawing in 2 hours every week for a year.
Yeah.
So there's an accessory to Inktober that's a yearly Inktober that is like it's either every week or every month or something. There's a prompt, and then you take that week or month to do that thing, which is essentially what me and Brandon did. So we learned how to like just do a piece really fast based on whatever kind of pinup prompt that we can be okay with. And then the other thing too is that I've been doing Inktober for years now. So I'm not always successful, but for the most part I'm pretty successful. Because if I can just carve out an hour or two or whatever, I can usually get a piece done that's passable.
And then even other assignments, I'm trying to do this like either a 1 or 2 pager. I got to figure it out fast. Our friend Eric, a little like trick or treat short that he's doing for Outer Space. So I'm trying to knock that out, and so I think I'm gonna have to do that digitally. I'm not gonna lie. I might have to beat through that. But then I'm trying to do my submission for this Comic Coast Fascists, and that's 4 pages or so. But I think I'm taking like a whole week off at the end of October, which I think I'm just gonna catch up on Inktober and knock out some of these drawings.
Yeah,
it's so hard. Some of these prompts are hard too.
Yeah, there are people who make their careers off of just doing Inktober pretty much. Like it can get pretty crazy. But yeah, I just more view it as a thing to kind of stretch my muscles and challenge myself to do something every day.
Like, dude, like Team T, like I'm not a Team T. I just put up the list for us this month. For those watching, so like Team T, that's gonna be hard for me. The Thing is gonna be fun but difficult. I gotta do some research for Corbin. Gundam's gonna be hard. I'm gonna get way too intricate, and I'm gonna hate my first drawing. I can already tell. Yeah, some of these are gonna be hard, and some of these are gonna be like interesting, you know. I forgot we put Akira on there.
Or some stuff's like really vague, like indie comics, you know.
Yeah, I try to be more. I think we're more concise this year. Stuff. Previous years we've been kind of broad on the topics.
Yeah.
Oh, Saboteur Comics just said Tubi for the win. Speaking of Tubi for the win, Max, you're gonna be so proud of this. So during spooky time, like my girlfriend Lex and I will go and we'll choose a movie every night. And so we'll pull from a list. Oh my gosh, look at this baby. Cute dog. Oh.
This is the one making all the noise.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Okay. No worries.
As soon as she found out I was getting Night of the Chihuahuas, she started. God, I can't. Images are backwards.
Oh, it's so adorable.
She just started going crazy. She wants me to make her a star.
How sweet.
Yeah, you're going to be in my book.
Can't wait to have a dog again. So cute. But Alex and I watched. I think it was you and Saboteur talking about it, but we watched Faust for the first time.
Oh yeah.
What is it? Love? I forget what it's called. Love and Thunder or something like that.
It's Love and the Damned or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, dude, it was like I didn't realize like how I've never read the Tim Vigil comic. I don't really know anything about it. I've only seen the cover, but I didn't realize it was like a superhero movie. Like,
yeah,
essentially, you know what I mean? Like that was insane. Like when he came out.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit of Blade earlier. I was like, oh man, I haven't seen it in a long time. So I was like, this kind of hits. I was like, I want superhero movies to go back to this.
Yeah.
Blade 2. I want to watch that for Halloween.
Oh yeah. It's
I
pretty
think we need to make a new thing where everyone who comes on has to give a cheesy or a cult Tubi movie recommendation.
Oh, I would love that. I love that so much. Like they have great documentaries on Tubi though. It's like the most worth it streaming service.
Yeah, that's good. I like to watch trash while I'm drawing.
They had that RoboCop documentary on there for a long time too. I saw the Mike Mingola one that was on there recently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Drawing monsters.
Yeah, so good.
It's
Super
really good. I just recently watched the one on Art Spiegelman. Oh man.
Oh, it's on my queue. I want to watch that real bad.
So good. It was really good.
They have one. They have like Women in Comics that's on there right now, which looks
Yep.
really good. They have the Crumb one on there right now. Also, like if you're into like music and whatnot, Decline of Western Civilization. I think parts 1 through 3 are on there.
Only one and two are any good.
I've only seen the third one once. Yeah, I don't think I've ever tried to rewatch it. First two were intense, dude. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Faust, dude, that was I can't wait to read the comic. I can't wait to like check that out. That was insane.
It's
And
insane.
it's crazy how bad but good it is.
Do you have a copy of it?
I don't
I don't know how available it is.
internet.
I know they did a soft cover of the trade, which is what I have. And actually it's still shrink wrapped.
Oh cool.
But I know
Yeah,
have
they did some sort of re-release a few years ago. I remember
so they
hearing
did
about it.
they did a Kickstarter, and then after that Kickstarter they did a trade through Black Mask Studios, I believe.
Yeah, something like
And
that.
then that disappeared very fast.
Yeah.
And people were like, what the hell, I want a copy. And so they did like a soft cover, like mass release, but I don't know if it's out or not, like if it's actually available, because it's
Yeah, I
always
don't
been
know.
a pretty rare weird book.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's the print run on that was not. When you look at the year it came out and like the publisher, like you're like, holy crap, this is the cult book.
Yeah.
But the movie, I mean, I'm totally gonna rewatch it one day. It's ridiculous. Like it is. That outfit is just so Batman, Spawn, X-23, like
Wolverine
fusing.
claws.
Yeah,
Oh my
like
Yeah. That reminds me, Brandon, have you seen Bat Thumb on YouTube?
Bat Thumb. For some reason, that
Yeah.
sounds familiar. Is it an
There's-
older thing too?
There's all these like thumb movies. So there's like Thumb Wars.
I've seen Thumb Wars. Yeah. Yeah. I do
Okay,
remember
so
Thumb Wars.
I was watching Bat Thumb with like Milo and his friends over over whatever streaming thing we were doing, and freaking it was so good. I was like it's super campy, right? But I was like, if this was an indie comic book, this would be like a multi-million indie comic book, I was like, this would make buco bucks in the indie comic scene.
Dude,
It's
yeah,
so good. Because it's actually like not a bad Batman script, it's like plays on all the tropes, and like it was so funny. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's funny. We see some ridiculous stuff at CWS. And some of our characters, or some of the people that do like parody stuff, I've seen some amazing stuff, and I've seen some stuff that are just like horrific, dude. Like
Oh yeah.
like nightmare. Yeah, like Especially some of the AI stuff we get sometimes. It trips me out.
That's crazy.
Like AI NSFW, like weird stuff. Like, whew.
Yeah, I bet you they had AI do the lettering too.
Yeah,
So
all of it.
you
Like,
can't read anything.
yep.
Oh,
How about somebody with an
Or-
idea that no artist would touch, so they just make it an AI?
Honestly, though, that's why I'm glad I'm in charge of content at CW. I get to choose who I spotlight. Which is cool. Like the way I choose people is just like if I have your book and if it's nearby and I'm reading it, like there's no specific order. But I don't think I own an AI comic, or I've never been given one either. I think I'm going to start adding too much detail into this, and it's not gonna be a quick ink job like I expected it to be.
I ended up finishing mine. I was like, oh, I'm done. I
Yeah,
love when
I've
I love when that happens. When you're just like working on something and suddenly you're like, wait, it's done.
I'm practically done. I just keep on adding little detail to it.
Yeah, I already did. How many panels did I do? I did 2 panels. No, I did 2.5 panels yesterday, and then I did like 3 this morning, and then I did this. I might end up doing more later. I don't know. So we're hauling.
What do the word bubbles say on there, Max?
This says thank you for your cooperation, and this says we only kill bad people usually.
Dude, I came out great, Max. Such a good RoboCop, dude. Dude, yeah, even my RoboCop I drew yesterday. I should have brought my blue line pencils up. I didn't even think about it. That was the first time I ever drew RoboCop. That's the cool thing about like Inktober as well, is that it every year it's pushed me to be like, oh, there was no way I was gonna draw this.
Yeah, well,
Other than right now.
the official prompts are crazy because that's what I started doing was the official prompts.
And they're like
Yeah.
one word prompts sometimes too, right? Like they're really broad.
They're almost all one word prompts, and they're almost all either like probably 70% of them are like really really broad, and you could do almost anything with, and then the other 30% of them are like super specific, so it like nails you down into doing something that's kind of unconventional. Like sometimes it'll be like I think today's was weave, which
Oh, wow.
God knows what you do. I have no clue. And then sometimes it's just like elephant, and it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm drawing an elephant. I'm sure you could figure out other stuff to do, but like,
But like it's a real creativity challenge too. Like what do you
yeah.
do
So
with it?
yeah. So sometimes like when I was doing it in the past, oftentimes I would like do the main prompts, and then sometimes there would just be one that's like I really don't want to do that, so I'd go find somebody else's horror monster prompt and do that instead.
I think this year, gosh, I know we're behind on our whole building scene in general, but like, I think I'm gonna do my Inktober. Since I'm doing them all in the square format, I might make a little book out of it this year, actually.
Do it.
Yeah,
We're all gonna have Inktober books.
yeah, I would love that. Yeah, because even looking how Anton did his, dude, like this is so good. Bam, and just got the colored cover, and so I have like 2 different colors. That's why I thought he did a multi-year. But
What's the
yeah,
size of that?
Dude, this is like a 5x5 right here. I think I have a freaking ruler around me.
It's like a 3x5 or something.
Yeah, I guess so. Not even.
No, it's probably 4x5.
Yeah, I think this
Huh.
one is about 4x5. Yeah,
So that's gonna be the size of mine. Yeah.
maybe like 4.5x5. It's barely
Okay.
4.5x5.5. Yeah, that looks like what it is.
That's kind of a weird size.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of think.
Because I'm assuming if this is 5x5, this pops off about half an inch here.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. No, so what's
yeah.
the size? Wait, fold it in half again. Like it's the regular book. Okay, now what size is that? That's what I want to know.
Oh, I have no idea. This looks like a
Like a
Yeah.
3x5.
yeah.
Huh.
Interesting.
Not
Interesting.
me trying to like dissect what other people are doing.
I know, right? Just virtually, where I'm just like,
Yeah.
I am pretty like worried about this month's like Inktober. Like it looks like a lot of fun, but I travel so much. I feel like I'm gonna not catch up. I'm either gonna have to skip out an assignment and a lot of Inktober, or one or the other.
Or you're gonna have to figure out a way to draw faster.
Yeah, just simplify it like crazy.
Yeah, because that xenomorph is crazy, dude.
Oh, this I didn't mean to do this the whole stream. This was supposed to be done the first 30 minutes, and I was gonna ink this and the one I drew this morning.
Yeah, no, you decided to do a 1-point perspective sci-fi tunnel and an upside down xenomorph. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot, bud.
These were supposed to be lines, and the xenomorph I was gonna black out completely almost.
Try doing
That was
crazy
my
sketches
original
where
idea.
you're like dripping ink and spattering. And, like, you know who Ralph Steadman is? The guy who used to,
No.
the artist that always worked with Hunter S. Thompson.
Oh, cool! Yeah.
Yeah, he'll have to do 5 or 6 drawings sometimes, but that one just looks amazing.
Yeah,
He's
right.
splashing ink, so it'll happen the way it happens, right? He's not in total control.
Yeah, Jason Sean Alexander's been doing a lot of live sketch card streams because he has to
Oh, yeah.
send them out for something, some sort of Spawn celebration or whatever. But he's sitting there just with a giant brush pen and some white wash and bangs out a gorgeous looking sketch card cover in 15 minutes, and I'm like, fuck.
Good for him.
He just knows what he's doing and has done it a
Yeah.
billion times, and
Yeah. That's muscle memory for him.
yeah.
But I mean, just do something experimental and crazy. Like look at some Bill Sienkiewicz, and then just go do a crazy sketch with ink.
Yeah, like on this one, I pulled a lot of Frank Miller, where I just let the whites go into other whites. I'm only just adding blacks and working with space and limited rendering.
Yeah, that's super awesome.
So you can find shortcuts or ways to do things quicker, but still cool.
And Hobbs, are you doing stubble on that?
The stippling. No, he
Stippling.
might just be doing really tiny hatching.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
just kind of scribble hatching as I go.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's fun. I really enjoy it. You just it's almost relaxing because you're never pushing hard enough to really commit, and you kind of see it develop as you're doing it. And then I don't know. I always like doing it with a ballpoint pen. Actually, the ballpoint pen's even more forgiving because it kind of creates these ghost lines if you're just barely touching the paper. But I'm using it's a 0.05. So the 0.05, yeah,
It's so tiny. That's essentially what I've been using for this. I'm doing an 18 by 24 piece, and it's not a 0.05, but it's a 0.1. So
Yeah.
it's still really, really tiny, and that's what I'm doing everything with. And so it takes forever.
Yeah, that's the problem,
tiny
right? It takes forever, but it gives you this kind of organic development. You just kind of keep adding lines until you get what you want. So and it gives a different look, right? Like the look of it has this sort of textured, scratchy. I don't know, highly detailed, but like how much detail is really there? Is it just lines, that are just next to each other, or is it actually evoking the detail of the surface texture? And I don't know. I enjoy it. I ended up doing a lot of this stuff on like my own stuff, but and I noticed what you said earlier with the paper. Like this paper takes the ink a lot different. This is like really thin paper. So
okay.
When I first started, I started with the 0.1 because that's what I use on my own stuff. But the 0.1 was just like kind of spreading
Flowing
as I would
out.
push it down. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I even started doing it was like I have a 0.03. So I started doing the 0.03 for a while because I couldn't control it. But yeah, this is great. I got two things inked tonight. This is fantastic.
Yeah, this was. I'm excited. I can just
You guys
hang
are the
out
best.
and thanks, Hobbs. I'm excited. I have 2 things to eat now, like on my iPad. I'm freaking hyped. I'm like stopping my drawing now, though. I'm not going to go any further, or else it's going to get too extreme. Like, I'm done. Dang, dude! Wow, that like, is that like grass and dirt you're doing there, Carl?
Yeah, it's just like a horizon shot of Hawaii.
Wow.
I'm kind of doing what Ro was talking about. Although it's with pencil, but like the softer pencils I did the figure with, so they're darker, and then I'm just using an H pencil for this background to make it look kind of fuzzy or far away. Some atmospheric perspective, I guess.
Yep.
So how do you make that stand out with inking?
He doesn't ink.
Heavier
Sure.
lines on the foreground.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't realize the question. I thought you were asking Carl how he like retains that when he inks, and I was like, Carl just doesn't ink.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
But
Which is
it's
insane too. That's super awesome. Like if anyone didn't know that, like Carl doesn't ink and his stuff. Let's see if I can pull up the book right here.
It's the worst month of the year for me. Inktober. I'm just in rebellion.
This is like the one thing where I was like seeing you ink something or have blacks really,
Yeah. I mean, I get my blacks with Photoshop.
So it's all the pencil still.
The idea with that, right, is that like, you can do like, here's your object, right, and you do a really bold line, right, and then maybe behind that there's kind of, whatever object, and it's like mid, right, and then way in the background you're gonna have like, oh, that's a kind of a bold line. Hold on, where's my tiny one? Like really tiny, like faint lines, or like I do broken lines too. So like when you're doing a line, you just like let it naturally break up because you're doing it very lightly. I don't know if you can see that, but
yeah,
the broken lines do the same thing as a really tiny line and making it far away. And then the closest thing, right, something that's right up against the camera, is going to be black like that. And then you can kind of do this with rendering, right? You do the same thing where you do varying shades of gray. Right, until it almost becomes white.
Yeah, usually something darker is going to read to the audience as it's closer to you.
nice. Well then, I think that's a great way to wrap the show tonight. Let's do a little round room during our last little 5 minutes. Let's have Carl. Let us know. Dude, you all over the place. Tell us what you want us to know.
Yeah, there's too much to talk about. Just follow me on Instagram or go to ratracecomics.com, and that'll. Because I'm getting all these deals, but I don't know exactly when everything's going to hit print. I basically got 4 books. Taking over Night of the Chihuahuas, and I've got this book coming out soon. And then my White Wolf is coming out as a Kickstarter later this month.
Ooh.
So follow me. I think you can go in and pre-select it or whatever.
Yeah. Get that follow for notification. Carl's links are here in the episode description as well.
And that's going to be, I mean, you'll be able to buy the comic other places, but that's going to be primarily a way for me to sell the original art as add-ons and extra tiers and stuff. And then this book of Thunder, we're going to do the Kickstarter next year. That one and the Night of the Chihuahuas will be next year. Early next year. I guess that's it.
Nice. Love it, Carl. Dude, so glad that you got to pop on. It's always just mind-blowing seeing what you do. I love it so much. Always welcome. And let's circle over to our boy, to Hobbs. Man, you just wrapped a Kickstarter. You're now getting some breathing room. What else do you got going on?
Resting. But
Recovery.
Yeah, recovery phase. But I'm actually going to be working on wooden ornaments for the next 3 months. I'm working with my wife on her story, doing a few illustrations, just kind of spot illustrations for her story. But my real time is actually going to be devoted to doing wood turning and doing ornaments for a winter market in Winchester. So that's probably what I'll.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, you should check it out. You're in Winchester, so.
Yeah, 100% will. That's
I mean, I would like to get back to Fuzz Bouquet. That's kind of like my goal now. Now that Green Knight Street Fight is finished, this is my baby that needs to be finally finished. It's got 5 issues. I've got the 6th issue not penciled, but like thumbnailed. And I'm working on rough pencils right now. So like, I would like to just get back to this, and this will be hopefully my full-time comic interest for the next few years.
cool.
So that's fuzzbouquet.com. So if you're interested, you can get the books there. And Green Knight Street Fight, I'm going to do something with it. Right now, I think you can get it on Perilous Adventure Studios through Jeremy Vinar. But the 2nd issue is going to be out in a month, and I got to figure something out, a way to distribute it. I didn't think that far ahead. I don't know what to tell you.
It's all lessons. That's all it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel that. Brad, dude, I can't wait to see that. And we'll set up another meetup soon, and you're always welcome on. Super glad that you popped on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, hell yeah. And Max, what do you got going on? You have a few things out right now.
Sure. If you want a whole year's worth of inking inspiration for Inktober, you can pick up my Spilled Ink Year 1 zine that's got all of my drawings from Spilled Ink. Over the course of a year, there's the xenomorph that I don't know.
Yeah, that was
We're
our first
topping
one.
that for tomorrow, but and if you want,
You didn't speak that entire episode, dude.
Yeah, I was locked in. If you want comics, I have the lighting in here is awful, but I have the Family Man and Bubbles that are both available. You go to artofmf.bigcartel.com, or you can just go to my website artofmf.com and click shop, and it'll take you there. Or go to my Instagram at artofmf. But yeah, I got some books for sale. I'm gonna keep chugging along on Inktober, and I guess if you want to make sure that you grab one of the screen printed closed edition zines, you're gonna have to message me. Or maybe I'll put up a pre-order.
I won't one put it up for pre-order, but I'll send you money.
Sweet.
I'm claiming one. So 31 now.
Yeah.
So good luck,
Well,
everyone.
there's only 30 now.
Oh,
Yeah.
30. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Now
well,
good
because
luck,
it's a
everyone.
closed edition of 31. So if Brandon's taking one, then there's only 30 left.
Suckers.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to do that. Dude, hell yeah, Max. And Max is gonna be running the show for the next 2 weeks because I will be at New York next week for New York Comic Con. So come hit me up. I have some cool stuff. Maybe I'll have a free Apollo book if you catch me in a good mood. So if you're in New York or if you're going to New York Comic Con, like I also just want to hang out with people. I'm gonna be solo, so please hang out with me.
And also, please hang out with me.
Yeah.
Message me if you want to be on the show, and we'll get
Yes.
you in and like come hang out. It's Inktober. It's spooky month. Like,
Yeah.
it'll be cool. Also, Saboteur
have,
playing the book, so it's down to 29 already.
All right, there you go. Saboteur should get on next week because Mystios Press,
Yeah,
I
man.
believe, is going to be on next week. They're an amazing creator who's running a really cool horror book Kickstarter right now. Go look up Mystios Press, Mystos, I think. You'll pick it up. You'll find it. Your Instagram heard us say it, so it'll find it right away. So yeah, next 2 weeks is gonna be crazy. So please let me know if you're going to Baltimore or if you're just attending, if you're tabling, anything. We have some cool stuff going on there as well. And gosh, man, that's just CWS crazy. It's going to be a crazy month. A lot of traveling, a lot of cool stuff, lots of announcements coming soon with print on demand. And there's going to be panels I'm doing with Global Comics at Baltimore. I'll be hanging out with Global Comics at New York Comic Con as well. So we'll have some cool stuff to say about what's going on. So come find us. Come find me and Will and Eric and all these cool people from Global. Get known a little bit. And other than that, check out Policy Comics at policycomics.com. Check it out. We just got an order in. Wow, that's really zoomed in. But look, this is some cosmic death foil for the horror anthology. Hey, so real quick before we sign off, I'm gonna admit this, and just because I haven't told Max yet, and it's embarrassing, but it's not. Whenever you print a book, you're always gonna find mistakes, right? And sometimes when you're editing and helping put a book together, you just like assume your stuff is correct. But dude, I put our story backwards by accident. Like it's this.
Brother.
And then this. But luckily, dude, yeah, our it's supposed to be these 2 pages and then the 2-page spread. Yeah, my bad. 300 copies printed like that. So we discovered it because we were formatting the Baltimore anthology and I put that in there. But luckily the way I wrote it still reads fine. Like it still works. Like
yeah,
it
because
totally
it's a little
works.
musical. Yeah, it's a little poetic, if you will.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Like, and the way I set up each page with like, it's
Oh my god.
it worked. Dude, I was gonna cry. I was like, no way, man. But no, it's all good. So just know these mistakes happen. It doesn't matter how many comics you make. How many comics have we put out, Max? So many. And this was a big book. It was our biggest one yet. And I still messed up. And it's my story. Again, there's a punk anthology. I have a typo in my story. Like, I need to pay attention to my stuff more when I'm editing. It's the lesson. Yeah. But you can pick up the horror anthology soon. Actually, it's going to go up in the next week or 2 once I start doing fulfillment. We're going to post it up on the website. So if you want the found footage horror anthology, some amazing works in here, Family Man stuff, all sorts of things. Like I'm in there. Look at we have some good friends in there as well. Look at J. Drew. This is Doug Knights. It's a beautiful, insane. This is Max right there. Just trying to find the thing of me. Oh, see, there's me and Mark. There we go. So yeah, there's Jade. So yeah, it's good stuff. So check out the horror anthology on policycomics.com. Thank you guys all for hanging tonight, and y'all have a good one.